Hey, everybody. Hello, hello. It's Whimsy, your oracle. I am going to play things a little bit here just so that I can edit as I go, because for whatever reason, they're not letting me see what's going on there. There we go. Hello. Let me mute that. Hello, Holly, Brenda. Oh, Ian. Yay. So, as is our way, we're going to start by saying hi to everybody. Hi to Sarah and Noelle. Ian, we've said hi to Tyann. Hello. Tim. Alice. Hello again. Somebody's nibbling on my arm. Yes. Welcome, welcome. Christy, Ruth, Sammy. Okay, so I can see that there's a problem, and that is that I don't see any. Hi, Katie. Does anybody want to be our moderator? Oh, we have Kathy. Kathy's here. But we could use probably a couple more moderators if anybody wants to volunteer. So, yes, no, maybe. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Holly. Hi, Rowan and Florence. Okay, so we're going to get started. If anybody wants to volunteer, just let me know. If you want to be one of our moderators, and I can go ahead and take care of that. And today we're doing a blitz. I know everybody likes the blitzes. I haven't had time to do a blitz. I've been busy. This was a really busy week for me, the last couple weeks, in fact. But the first thing I want to do is talk a little bit about, let me switch again so that I can see myself. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be talking about today is some of the meditations I've been doing on the environment. People have been concerned about the environment. People have been asking about the environment, and whether or not I've been getting any meditations on the environment. Also, most of my herbs are in. I'm making my own medicinary from scratch, which is kind of exciting. I know people had asked about that. So I would say half the herbs are in, maybe less than half, and then another half are coming in. So if people are interested in that and interested in seeing more videos about how I make my herbal medicines, then we can do that here. All right, so the first meditation I did actually wasn't on the environment. It was actually on a little bit about politics. Not a lot. I don't want to spend too much time on that. But there's a little bit more drama going on with the mooch that came up in the previous meditations. And it looks like when I go into the meditation on Scaramucci that he works for a lot of really important people. I know that he went to Harvard. Whether or not it's true or not, this is kind of the energy of somebody who might have been put through school by an organization. So say an organization decides to fund somebody going to Harvard or going to Yale, and then that particular person gets out of Yale or Harvard, and then they are obligated to go and work for that organization that put them through school in the first place. So then that person becomes a lawyer for that organization. That's the energy around Scaramucci. So I know that he represents contractors in New York, individuals in the Italian community that are involved in some of the unions, the police union, the fire department, the police, construction workers, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody had said, well, you know, he's the mafia lawyer. I don't want to be that brazen, but it does feel, when you go into his energy and when you really focus on the threat that Scaramucci made against Mr. Trump, it does feel like he is is the lawyer for, he is not speaking for himself. He is speaking as the lawyer for very powerful people who he works for. And you get the impression when you go into the energy that whoever these powerful people were, they groomed him, they sent him to law school, and they did it with the intent that he come back and work for them. And so it is not Scaramucci, the mooch, that is on the outs with Trump. It is his clients. So that was what Scaramucci was referring to. Isn't that interesting? It's a totally different way of looking at Scaramucci. He's not the one on the outs. He is the mouthpiece for powerful business people who he is the lawyer for. So that's what that was about. All right, so yeah, I heard that Koch passed away. Let's not get too comfortable though, because there's plenty more where he came from. Because psychopathy, I was asked to talk a little bit about this also. If you're talking about early primitive tribes, even before agriculture, we'll say before agriculture, pastoral communities, life was harsh, and often people did die, and there were limited resources. And so if somebody in a cooperative society who's living close to the earth, and everybody's doing what they have to do, cooperating, trying to survive, and you had somebody with an antisocial personality, you might warn them, you might punish them, but eventually, if the behavior continues, the way that Mother Earth would respond to somebody with this type of personality disorder would be exile. The tribe would get together and they would vote, this person is dead weight, this person is not contributing to the tribe, this person isn't contributing to the betterment of the tribe. And so consequently, that individual was placed in exile. And exile was really, it was basically the death penalty for most people, in the sense that if you're looking at, I'm going to just get something for my nose here, excuse me. It's humid today. All right, so going back to this, the meditations on Mother Earth and Gaia and early cooperation before agriculture. So when people would show those tendencies, they would just be put into exile. And a couple of things would happen. Number one, if you were placed into exile because you couldn't cooperate and work as a team, you would either go into the desert and definitely die, or you would join a group of bandits, and then you would become one of those troublemakers on the road that was surviving as a bandit, or you could survive in the wilderness. There are stories of people that survived in the wilderness. And then there's another type of person who's the derelict, and that's not a sociopath. That's somebody who's actually associated with advancing the tribe or helping the tribe go forward or evolve. An example of that in modern society would be somebody like a musician like Bob Dylan, Keith Richards, where they live outside the norms, not because they are without a heart, but because they are trying to break out of the rigidity of a particular culture. And so the derelict might have sociopathic tendencies or antisocial tendencies, but they serve the function of going out and starting their own tribe and starting their own community, usually in order to advance or evolve the community. So that's kind of how, in a natural world, psychopathy was reduced. How we were able to diminish the number of sociopaths or psychopaths in a given community. If you weren't cooperating, if you were trying to enslave others, if you were trying to dominate others, if you were gaslighting others, if you were telling others, wow, you need to be my slave because in a lifetime you can't remember, you did such and such to me, all of this gaslighting, which infected every philosophy, every spiritual philosophy probably up until the 1950s, when we saw the Tibetan exile, which was the collapse of feudalism in Tibet. Buddhism, and particularly in some of the Eastern philosophies, went through a spiritual crisis because we saw the death or the end of slavery. And so people had to examine their spiritual beliefs, like Buddhism, from the context of what would that look like in a free and democratic society. Because a lot of these beliefs of enslaving others had a socioeconomic benefit. And I would refer people to a couple of books that are interested in this subject. And the first book that I refer people to is taught in business schools. There's a couple that teach, a couple business schools that teach Psychopathy 101, Sociopathy, Psychopathy 101. The Richest Man in Babylon would be a good example of that. If you want to check out the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, you can probably read it free online. And it talks about this basic fundamental model, which is the Walmart model, the Target model, the major business model, which is if you want to be wealthy, you need more slaves. That is the premise of the Richest Man in Babylon. That we must have slaves. If we want to be rich, we must have slaves. That is the economic model for how the planet got to be so out of balance. And it seems to take place in early Mesopotamia, when people are subduing the earth and controlling the earth and creating agriculture. So we go out of balance, right? And we start to war with the earth to try and get the earth to do things that the earth would not naturally do. And it becomes intensified as agriculture, which also means that others become subjected because you have to have slaves to work the land. And then you have to be able to control the slaves. And so what you do is you infect them with a belief system, because you can't watch all your slaves. You infect them with the belief system that it is their karma to be a slave. And that way you can control them even when you are not watching them. You tell them that there's an invisible God that's watching them at all times, watching their work. And if they don't do chosen by God tells them to do, they will incarnate as a slave again. And this is told to you from birth on, and you are not taught to read, you are not taught to write, you are not taught to think for yourself. All you've been told is that you chose this. All you've been told is that you chose your parents. The absurdity of this type of logic can be expressed when you see genocide, when you see somebody like Ghilaine Maxwell, who's talking about the fact that the children that they kidnapped and raped were trash. It goes back to this psychosis where where the psychopath perceives of themselves as superior and the victim as inferior. That's the imbalance. So if you're talking about trying to heal the world which is in balance and doing away with the slavery mentality, it's about connecting to the earth, getting close to the earth, and understanding that the earth comes first. She comes first. This is the natural order. The natural order isn't that in a previous lifetime that you can't remember, assuming that the you that is you now will be the you that you are now in death, which I also question. Yeah. So the natural order. So the natural order is to help the earth, help expand the earth. So if you're looking at that from a socioeconomic perspective, you could call that green capitalism. If you want to get rich helping the earth, I guess you could say, you know, it's okay to be a green capitalist, because the more product you sell, the wealthier the earth becomes, right? Or you could do something cooperative like Bernie Sanders. But, all right, let's open up some questions. But that is the awakening. I think, that everybody's been waiting for. The awakening is an egalitarian society where we all go and apologize to Mother Earth. Take off your shoes, go walk on the grass. Prostrate yourself, on the earth. Have a good cry with Mama. Apologize to her. Apologize for treating yourself like garbage. If you did that. You're not garbage. You were not put on the earth to be trash. You were not put on the earth to be anybody's doormat. That is not your karma. Your karma is to be Gaia, conscious of herself as a human being. Being fruitful and multiplying is all well and good, but you have to be fruitful first. And that means we have to help the earth to have a fruitful earth, which means what? It means we all have to be environmentalists, right? That's the awakening. Yeah, the Amazon. Let's talk about the Amazon, and we'll go ahead and throw cards on the Amazon. The Amazon is considered the lungs of Gaia. It's her lungs. So her lungs are on fire now. It makes up 20% of our oxygen. What are we going to do about the fact that our mom can't breathe? Basically, she's got COPD. She's being smoked to death. This is the natural way to look at things. We come from her. The life force comes from her, and we are the life force. We are an expression of her as human beings, conscious of ourselves, and we have to do what we have to do to make sure that Mother is taken care of. She comes first, because if she goes down, we go down. We cannot survive if the earth dies. The Amazon can recover. We can expand the Amazon. All we have to do is, first off, recognize the problem, and then take the existing ecosystem and support it so that it can do what it needs to do, which is expand. We have to get out of her way. We have to assist her, and we have to get out of her way. Planting trees, but also forest management, biodiversity. This is one of the functions of human beings. Okay, so we have a couple questions about the environment because people wanted to focus on the environment today, and I think that's fine. The main thing I wanted to get out from my meditations was this idea of an expanding earth, and how in our earliest memory as a society, we were able to control sociopaths. It wasn't out of control like it is right now. You can see it's leading to extinction. They destroy everything. This is why they had to go into exile. This is why they had to leave the tribe. You can imagine if you're only 18 people and human beings are going extinct all over the world, and you're about to go extinct, and there's only a limited food supply, and you've got this troublemaker who refuses to listen, who's taking everything for himself and lying and cheating and manipulating, what would the tribe do? If you're a compassionate, empathetic tribe, if you're a tribe of 18 empaths, you would make that painful decision to say, you can't stay here. If you stay here, the boat's going to sink. Good luck to you somewhere else. Maybe you'll find another tribe somewhere else that's just like you. Maybe you'll go create great art. We don't know what's going to happen to you, but we know that you have to leave. You can't stay here because we can barely survive, and you are dragging us down. All right, so we'll do the Amazon rainforest first. Let me write this down somewhere. Where? Do the Amazon first, then we'll do hurricane season. Anything else today people need? I'm here for you for the hour. California wildfires? I didn't know we were back in wildfire season again. Oh, the stock market? Yeah, I agree. We do need to look at the stock market because the stock market is a reflection of the chaos. Canada! Hey, we like Canada. I think we need, I don't pay attention. Yeah, you shouldn't, because Trump isn't Important. Oh, Ghilaine. Yes. Well, I think she made a deal. I think that she's being protected because she made a deal. Earthquakes. Okay. Who's Letitia James? That name sounds familiar. 25th Amendment. You know, they're getting to a point of 25th Amendment. This was one of the things we talked about. Remember when we did the remote and I said that if the president doesn't resign, that they're secretly negotiating a resignation, that they brought Giuliani in, he rejected the resignation, he didn't like the deal, or maybe he was afraid he was going to go, who knows? That's the situation we find ourselves in. So the Republican response was, if you don't leave, we will begin to spread a rumor that you're insane. George Conway said that they were going to start doing that, and the Democrats kept pushing, no, Russia. He said, get off the Russia thing. No, he's crazy. Oh, Letitia James, the prosecutor with SDNY. Boy, don't you love her? What an amazing woman. I would like her to be AG, but she has to stay in New York, so we have to give it to Kamala Harris maybe. I don't know. Oh, God, what a mess. The G7. Let's just see if we can get through everything. This is a Blitz, so we only give 5 minutes for every question, but you folks gave me a lot to look at. So Letitia James, God, I love that woman. Let's do a prayer for everybody. And let's see what the universe has. The mooch. Yes, the mooch, I believe, it's not him that Trump is afraid of. People are missing the point. He's the front man for a lot of extremely powerful, wealthy people, some of whom seem to be associated with the mafia, with real estate in New York, and with some of the unions. He works for them, and based on the remote I saw, they seem to have paid his way through college. They seem to have sent him to the best schools. He was their boy in the best schools. He was their boy that was going to go on to Harvard, and he was their boy that was going to come back and work for them, and that's precisely what he did. He took care of them. They took care of him. He's now worth $200 million, and everyone's laughing at the mooch, and he's sitting there as a lawyer for the mob and a bunch of other people and saying, you've made a terrible mistake if you've underestimated me. That's what's behind the eyes of the mooch when you meditate on it. And Trump knows that. He has lost the support of a large swath of people that the mooch was representing for a lot of reasons. They have it's integrated now in New York. They might have Jewish grandkids. They might have children of color as grandkids. The mob is not it's not as insular. Also, there's been some anti-Catholic stuff coming out from the alt-right. And if you're Italian Catholic or Irish Catholic and you're working for one of the police union or the fire department, you can see the writing on the wall. The same thing happened in Germany. They started declaring war on the Catholics, started burning Catholic churches. They didn't just go after Jewish people. They didn't just go after people of color. They started going after the Catholics. And this is another split that I think Scaramucci is talking about. If you're not a white Protestant, you're pretty much going to be fodder as far as this president is concerned. And so if he loses the Catholic vote, and it looks like he has, they're going to go with a blue collar Democrat, probably. Like Joe Biden, who, by the way, is Catholic. All right, we'll do a simple prayer and we'll go in. I want to call on white light protection for myself and my viewers as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and good angels to be with us. Give us the clarity and wisdom to empower those who receive the readings today to make the best decisions for themselves, for the people they love, for their families, and for the planet. With that, I say amen. Okay, so I think we're just going to look at the Amazon fires right now, and also the president of Brazil. I want to look at Boris Johnson today. I don't think he's doing well. All right, Spirit. First thing we're going to do is ask what is going on with the Amazon. What is going on with the Amazon? Is it going to be okay? Are we finally going to wake up and get over this crazy gaslighting from the sociopaths and save our planet? Time for exile. Time to kick them out. Some people, you know, they get kicked out of mainstream society, but then they create another beautiful culture around them. You know, I always think of Keith Richards like that. Keith Richards was like, oh, I don't want to have anything to do with it, you know, the mainstream. So he goes off and creates great music. That's one of the benefits when you're a genius, when you actually are putting something positive out there. That's a different kind of rebellion. Rebellion can be something positive if it pushes the planet forward. The Amazon. The first card on the Amazon question is the Godhead or the ethos of the planet. You can see the Hierophant moving in as the base card with the karma coming in. In plain words, our collective belief systems have resulted in the current crisis. Can everybody see that? The belief systems, the way we look to the higher self is our karma. So if we believe we deserve to be miserable, if we believe that there's going to be an Armageddon, if we believe there's going to be fire and brimstone, rest assured we will create fire and brimstone. We will destroy the earth because we are simply collectively, not on our own, because nobody has that kind of power, but collectively as a consciousness, as a group, we could be moving towards destruction until our internal belief systems change. This is modern Buddhism. Doesn't mean that it's your fault. It means that you are part of the collective problem until you become consciously aware and choose to change. And again, that doesn't mean you can save the world, but it means you can do some pretty remarkable things and hopefully influence other people to do remarkable things. And if enough of us are doing remarkable things, then yes, you can have a tipping point. And yeah, you could theoretically save the world, but with this type of a base card, the Hierophant, it's suggestive that it's the ethos and the karma of the ethos. And that's the very thing we need to challenge right now, to have an awakening where we change the ethos, where we change the conversation. We get our wish. The wish card has been granted. It's interesting to harvest money or to harvest wealth or to harvest gems. It's also about expanding the garden, harvesting the rewards of the garden, that the garden grows and then we harvest. This is green capitalism. This is really the card of green capitalism, 7 of Pentacles. The more they grow, the more they are able to take for themselves. It's the idea of an expanding world. The green continues to grow, the world continues to grow so that we can make many worlds. And from that, if we agree to this social contract, that she comes first and we plant, and we care for her and we love her, she promises us that we will take a portion for ourselves. A good mother always feeds her young. A good mother always takes a portion and gives to the baby. A well-fed mother has more breast milk, right? If you're starving, how much breast milk is the mother going to be able to produce? But if she is healthy, if she is well-fed, if she is happy, if she's not stressed out, the baby gets fed. 7 of Pentacles moves in with a wish card. We reap what we sow. The deeper meaning of we reap what we sow. The more we care for her, the more she can do her job. Her job is to love us. Her job is to take care of us. Her job is to make sure that we are taken care of. But she can't do her job if we keep working out of harmony with her. What is above? Confusion. Confusion about the money. We're confused. We're gaslit. We've forgotten who we are. We're disconnected from the earth. We don't know who we are. We've been brainwashed by a type of belief system that we're all indoctrinated with, which has made us disconnected from the earth. We're not spending enough time in nature. We're not spending enough time with the herbs. We're not spending enough time with the plants. We're back and forth, rocky waters, because we're disconnected from the source of our life. Two of Pentacles indicates that a rocky road is ahead. You can see in the background, the ocean is rocking back and forth. So hard times are ahead. This could also indicate a recession coming or problems with finances ahead. It's in the 4th house, which is that it's a coming energy. What sits below us? Honeymoon, a new celebration. What sits in the past? Confusion, gaslighting. This is the gaslight card, 7 of Cups, in the clouds, daydreaming, hallucinating, creating complicated stories about other realities as a way of coping with the stress of what's happening right here in this world. So people will escape. They'll escape into movies. They'll escape into drug use. They'll become depressed. They'll tell themselves fantasies. They'll blame themselves. They'll walk around like a zombie, confused, right? This is to have your head in the clouds, 7 of Cups. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to believe in. It's also potentially, from a Buddhist perspective, we call this Maya, illusion, following after money. Well, you got to admire somebody. He's a billionaire. We admire our billionaires. Somebody said that on YouTube. I was watching an interview where somebody said that, and I thought, why? Why would you admire a billionaire? It makes no sense. If you're a billionaire because you're a psychopath that sells weapons and you have no conscience, and that's how you became a billionaire, there's no reason that I would admire you. The only thing that matters is that we work as egalitarian, and whoever has whatever abilities contributes them for the common good, which is to help expand and protect the earth. And that's all that matters. But we're coming out of the illusion, 7 of Cups, chasing after jewels, chasing after the laurel wreath. Oh, look how important I am. Chasing after the dragon, drugs, right? Chasing after fears, the phantoms. Chasing after a boyfriend. You can see up in the upper right, the boy. Snake, the seductions, the temptations, the castle. These are all ideas of Maya or illusions, the things we chase after. Look what's coming in the future for us. Knowledge and wisdom. Where we're at right now, the star is over us. We've become awakened, doing the work, working with masters, the hope and the fear. We have to return to the garden. 6 of Cups, to return as children to the garden, to make our lives more simple. And then the final outcome is the judgment is coming. You can either choose to save the planet or not. You either have to go into exile. You can't stay here. This is a cooperative model now. You're either part of the change. You're either going to do everything in your power to live in an environmentally friendly home, reducing your plastic, reducing the chemicals in your home, teaching this to others, cleaning up the mess, volunteering for an environmentally friendly organization, donating what you can, be part of the change, or you have to go into exile. Because now is the time where we're reaping what we sow. The judgment comes. The clarification, success within 1 year, right? Ace of Swords is the victory card, and we read swords as years. Compassion reigning on the earth, 6 of Pentacles, the energy moving in this year. Look at this. The benefactor comes in the 8th house with Ace of Swords victory within 1 year. Humanity has changed. The hope and the fear that they will not change. That they will not change. Stubborn. You know what? You don't have to take the offer, but you have to leave. The final outcome, the cup of healing. Hermes is the archetype. He's a messenger, Hermes. He brings messages of peace or healing. So yes, we're going to save the planet. And it's like the water protectors. You know, it's like when the water protectors went down to try and save the water, and allies were coming down to try and help. And they went, well, what does it mean? And we don't have time. We don't have to, and the water protectors were saying, we don't have time to teach it to you. But either be part of the change or you got to go. You'll either become awakened or you won't. If you're awakened, it's not complicated. It's actually really easy. No, you don't deserve to be abused. Slavery is not natural. Concentration camps are not natural. Molesting children is not natural. No great good will come from it. It is not the natural order. Nobody has a right to treat you like that. You're a child of Gaia. You are her manifest as a human being. You are not garbage, and neither is she. You should not be treated like a doormat, and neither should she. How you were treated is how she is treated. This is not natural. When you love her, you are loving yourself, and this is the ultimate reality. Now that you have been freed from the slavery mentality, you can actually go and be happy and live your life the way she wants you to live your life. Enjoying Gaia, which is all she ever wanted. Have fun. We should be having fun in the garden, right? We should be planting. We should be eating organic biodynamic carrots. We should be dancing and singing and having parties, and we should be having slumber parties with Whimsy, right? We're going to do a live stream. I'm going to get all my vegan snacks from Trader Joe's. You can all see my favorite. My only complaint about Trader Joe's is that they use too much plastic. We need to write Trader Joe's and say, we love you. You've got great vegan snacks, but you got to get off the plastic, because I can't buy your, delicious vegan rice crackers. Mary's crackers, no plastic, delicious. That was the hummus comes in a plastic container. That kind of mindfulness. All right, we're going on to the next one, the hurricane season. Let's do it. Stephen Miller. Oh, you know what? Dang, I might stay late today and do Stephen Miller, because talk about a man completely disconnected from Gaia. Won't he have a hard time? Talk about can you imagine the breakdown that Stephen Miller is going to have when reality smacks him in the face? This is the Great Awakening. This is why people will have a breakdown at 50, because they're living in such conflict with who they really are that it's too much work at the age of 50 to keep the lie going. So people have a midlife crisis and collapse, and they try to get back to Gaia, but they're confused and they don't know what's happening. It's because the facade, you can't keep the facade going. That's what happened to me. My marriage ended. I turned 50. I was like, this is too much work to try and be somebody that I'm not. Well, let me go out and find out who I really am. All right, let's take a look. Hurricane season. What's going to be with hurricane season? All right, how will the hurricane season be both in the United States, but the rest of the world? We care about the rest of the world. And can you also just let us know what areas are the most vulnerable? Thank you. What will happen with the hurricane season? Base of the matter. People are working on it. We could be seeing, this is something I wanted to talk about also. I think we're going to have a shield. I think we're going to put a shield up. And the reason I think that, no, some of Trader Joe's stuff is organic. They have organic stuff. That's not true, Roxanne. You have to look at the label. It's delicious. My gosh. Some of their snacks are great. I think we're going to put a shield up. I've been feeling this. I did a meditation a couple nights ago. Now, there's a couple of different ideas for what the shield will look like when I did a remote. One is that it would be, they can put up some type of metal, like metal filings. This is what it looked like to me. I don't know anything about this. But it looked like it was almost like iron filings were going to go around the world. It was going to rotate around the world, and it was going to block out some of the sun. And then it looks like it's a 7-year period. So what happens is that they put this type of dust, which is, this is one of the ideas, it's electromagnetic, so you can get rid of it, but it will eventually dissipate. So that was one of the ideas, is to put a temporary barrier up that lasts about 7 years, will slowly dissipate, and it will give us an extra 7 years to get control over the problem with methane gas, etc. A lot of research scientists say we're on the verge of finding a solution. You can see the master's card came in and the offer is coming in, but I think we're going to put a shield up. It's going to be a couple different ideas about how to put the shield up. One idea is a type of shield that looks like it's associated with satellites, and I don't exactly understand how that would work. And the other is this idea of metal filings that would reflect some of the heat, and then eventually it would burn up or dissipate. But I think we're going to do it, and I think that it's going to work a lot better than we thought it was going to work. There's a lot of fear around this project, but I think that once we put it up, the ecosystem bounces back very fast. So imagine we put a shield up that drops the Earth's temperature 5 degrees. So very rapidly, you could theoretically see the ice caps coming back, etc. So the first response to that is, my God, this is working better than we thought it was going to work. But there's also a warning when you go into that energy that this is only going to last about 7 years, and that it's not a solution to the problem. It's palliating what Mother Earth needs, and we should not get comfortable. If they do put a shield up, they do put something like that to slow down progression, and I really think we're getting close to that with this type of energy. We have to realize that it's still not the natural order, and we still have to clean up the mess. The garden will grow. Here's another example of the garden, 9 of Pentacles, and the abundance of the garden, and the real destiny of the earth. Hebrew, we say puravu, be fruitful and multiply. This is the old Torah view. The only problem with that is that people don't necessarily speak or read Hebrew. So people got it wrong. They just started multiplying. Whee! Babies! We're going to make babies. But that's not what the Torah says. Torah doesn't say make babies. It says be fruitful, meaning take care of the earth, expand the earth, plant trees, eco-management, biodiversity. And then after you've made the earth abundant, being fruitful, then you can have children. In plain words, first take care of your financial problems, first take care of your ecosystem, and then if you can manage that and you can manage to take care of your planet, you will be rewarded with being able to afford to have children. This is what happens when you make the mistake of teaching Torah to women. I'm joking. It's funny, I was in Jerusalem. I made my mother happy. I went to Israel, went to seminar, been a nice Jewish girl. And one of the first things they taught was the first commandment. Got to get married, make children. I said, well, wait a minute. The first part is to be fruitful. Doesn't that mean you're supposed to take care of the planet? After that, they didn't like me so much because I was looking at the Hebrew. I said, wait a minute, doesn't that also refer to the environment? And isn't that the deeper meaning of the Parsha? No, you're just supposed to make babies and hope everything will turn out okay. Well, it didn't turn out okay, right? The weather looks pretty good here. This is a good sign. We've got a nice 9 of Pentacles in the garden, 4 of Wands moving in, Ace of Cups. Boy, the peacemakers, the water protectors, the environmentalists are really coming in. They're really going to make a huge contribution to the planet. Look at this. Defending the earth. Look at the earth defenders. Look at that. Abundance. The tree planters. Look at this. The Empress. This is Gaia. We take the leap of faith. Hanging up the old ways, the hopes and fears, and the final outcome. The Queen of Hearts. Devastation. Disappointment for the old way. Yeah, the businessman. I'm worried specifically when I do the meditations about the southeastern United States. So that area looks vulnerable. The Gulf looks vulnerable, but not as much as the southeastern United States right now. But the energy moving forward is that serenity and that beautiful energy of cooperation, particularly in the South. It's amazing how the energy is changing. All right, people want to check on the wildfires in California. Let's do that really, really fast. Will we have a bad wildfire season this year in California? I'm using my senior deck. That's why everything's straight up. How are we doing on time? Oh, we have 15 minutes. Base of the matter, confusion, going it alone, difficulty cooperating, still some confusion about different agencies. We're having some legal problems in terms of the state and possibly problems with the federal government. You can see there's a feeling like we have to go alone, and there's gaslighting or confusion coming in. The Justice card. So there's some legal battles ahead. The court. We're going to court. Tower. So something's going on where California seems to be in. There's some legal problems between California and the state and the business of the state and the Fed. The Hierophant in the background, or the Godhead, and the judge. This is all about court. We're going. The state is going to court regarding possible problems with the federal government. You can see here carrying the load, and here's the court, and a potential tower in the fourth house. Well, I'll show it to you. You can see here the business of the state, legal, crossing, going into court, a potential crash or fight of some type, and then there's the judge. Going nowhere. There's some kind of a standstill. It almost feels like the federal government has declared war on California and is trying to block or inhibit or prevent California from taking care or doing what it has to do. This could be due to the fact that California is putting new environmental protection laws in effect, and there seems to be some opposition or a problem in the courts and possibly in the federal courts negotiating a deal. We're actually being blocked from doing what's right environmentally. I don't know anything about this, but probably one of our viewers. We're gonna win in court, and we're gonna win legally, and we're gonna be able to take care of our state. You can see the 6 of Wands within 6 months. We will win this legal fight. All right, so I know that there's a lot of oil drilling that happens in California. It could be that the businessmen, the people that support the president don't want strict oversight in California. That's what it looked like. And that has a negative environmental impact, because of the CO2 emissions. If everybody's driving, if we're not looking at public transportation and other ways of getting CO2 down, if we're just burn, that's going to put us at risk for wildfires. Okay, we're going to go in now and look at the stock market. All right, Spirit, what's the stock market going to be doing for the next, we'll try and go forward for the next 6 months. How is the stock market? How is the stock market over the next few months? I just saw a really great interview with Marianne Williamson and Russell Brand, if anyone hasn't checked it out yet. She says so many things that I agree with. It's really great. All right, the stock market. She'd be a great congresswoman. I hope she runs for Congress again. Base of the matter, the stock market, the Lover's card, and the Ace of Wands. Everybody wants to cooperate. I cannot stress enough how this energy of cooperation is moving in. Ace of Wands, the business world. There are enough eco-friendly business people that they are going to change the dynamic. You can see the Lover's card, the Lover's in the garden again. It's using the garden imagery. And the Ace of Wands is the business card. So the merging of cooperation between what is best for the nation, what is best for the planet, and the world of entrepreneurship. Where we're at right now, the work, the load. Oh my God, there's so much legally going on. Investigations of people moving. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of movement of work. Benefactors. This is kind of cool also. There's been an energy coming in lately of the philanthropist. You know, this channel, one of my dreams in life was I wanted to be a philanthropist. And I always thought you had to be rich to be a philanthropist, but I was able to become a philanthropist with very little money just because I started a YouTube channel and we raise about $1,000 a month and it goes to charity. So I just think it's neat that I get to be part of the change. You get to be part of the change. You get to be a philanthropist. I get to be a philanthropist. That we don't have to be rich to be a philanthropist. We just have to make the decision to give what we can. Six of Pentacles moving in the philanthropist card. Judgment. It's a time of giving and cooperation. Boy, I can't stress it enough. The South has changed. Going back. Giving, giving, giving. The Six of Cups. The Romance card. It's also the Soulmates card. Going back to the days of childhood. Cooperation. Working together. Generosity, service, gifts. Where we're at, walking away from the old ways, hanging it up. Look at this. Hope and the fear coming into our true power. Yehudit, the perfect judge, establishes laws and boundaries. Children, boundaries, right? She holds the staff. You stay in your lane, I stay in mine. Boundaries, the perfect judge. Clarification, a new contract, a new beginning, new partnerships, hopes and fears, devastation, final outcome. We're going to start having more oversight. If we're going to have more oversight, then that would lead me to think that somebody like Elizabeth Warren is getting in, or somebody with a strong desire for oversight. Nine of Wands, the fact that people feel cornered, or the fact that there's all this work going on to investigate the books, or it looks like there's an investigation or digging through or looking through what the problem is. The fact that the Ace of Wands was the base card, which is entrepreneurship over the Lover's card, leads me to believe that there are enough green capitalists in the world dealing with progressives that we will be able to create a coalition that will be able to control a situation that's out of control. So it feels like a coalition between green capitalists, right? The more I help the world, the more money I make. The more expanded the world becomes, the richer I become. It's a win-win situation, right? This world is great. Why not have 2 of them? Why not have 3 of them? Why not have 100 of them? Just expanding, right? Be fruitful, be fruitful. Keep planting, keep planting. So that's the new model. Nothing wrong with that green capitalism, as long as the underlining drive is not the money. The underlining drive is cooperation and expanding the world and helping humanity. If that's the underlining drive, you're going to be fine. Okay, and then Letitia James. I don't know if anyone else is having fun, but I'm having fun. Let's take a look. What is going to be with Letitia James? What is the future of Letitia James? Is she going to be able to release Trump's taxes? They're filing a dozen lawsuits a day to stop her. So much for Trump releasing his taxes. He said he was going to release his taxes, and now he's got dozens of lawyers trying to keep his taxes. The whole thing was a lie. If I were somebody who had voted for Trump, I'd be pretty angry right about now. I would not be happy about being lied to, even if I was a conservative. Base of the matter, again, experts coming in, looking at the coin. She's following the money. Look at this. The master, she's the master. Again, it comes as the base. And then Four of Pentacles, examining the money, examining the books. She found something in the books. Devastation over the situation. And she is definitely being under the attack. 10 of Swords with a 9 of Wands. It won't work, though, because she's getting backup from other areas. Look at this, 3 of Pentacles. Other states are contacting her. Other states have similar investigations going on, and they're now exchanging information with her. So that leads me to think that in other states where their investigations into Trump are now sharing their information with the state of New York. You can see here a cooperation, 3 of Pentacles coming in, 6 of Cups, old alliances, 3 of Wands, looking for other connections. She's also looking at his foreign business dealings because this is the ships abroad. This is also the Southeast. She's talking with Florida. She's talking with New Jersey. She's talking with California. And she's following the money. Look at that. She presents as objective reason, right? Reason. She has expanded this investigation beyond New York for sure. Hopes and fears that the truth will come out. Yeah, yeah. It's just going to get released. He's not going to stop it from being released. It's going to get released. Yeah, and not that it matters anymore because he has no more. He lost so much money. He lost so much support. You know, when Scaramucci left, all of the people he legally defends, all of those corporations, and I think he's going to lose the Catholic vote, which is interesting because a large swath of the Catholic community tends to be blue dog Democrat. If you're looking at Pennsylvania, Michigan, Illinois. Okay, let's take a break for a minute. How's everybody doing? Yeah, the cards are it's pretty easy to read the cards today. It's not, sometimes the cards are thick and I just think, it's not happening today. Time to go for a walk, meditate. But today the cards were really easy. Well, the fact that there's Noel, I think the fact that there's a death transformation coming out, that's like a release, leads me to suspect that they're just going to release it. It doesn't matter anyway, though, because he's lost everybody. He's lost Fox News. He's lost the unions. It's kind of sad. He was given the opportunity to leave last year. He chose not to. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and look at Ghilaine Maxwell. Sarah Sanders, talk about a person who I don't even want to bother. All right, Ghilaine Maxwell, Ghilaine Maxwell is an example of the female energy out of balance. If you're talking about being part of Gaia's immune system, and if you talk about the fact that she owns everything, we were created by her, for her, and it's all about her, and she comes first, and we dedicate our lives, a new social contract to her, and she will always make sure we have enough, asparagus in the refrigerator. Ever since I've gotten really into this, everything changes when you get awakened. Like, I never thought I would be able to be vegetarian, but the more I go into the spiritual work, like my tastes have changed, Give me a vegan salad with quinoa and black beans, and I'm a happy girl. Let me tell you. You know, everything changes when you get on the spiritual road. Your taste buds change, your needs change. But I always tell people, don't call yourself a vegan. Just reduce the animal products, because as soon as you say you can't have something, human nature is that you're going to want it real bad, and then you're going to just like go crazy and say, I've got to go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and get a filet mignon, and then you eat it and you feel so guilty. I was on that treadmill for a really long time. But now I don't bother with all of that. I just say, Whimsy, you can have whatever you want. Just eat the vegetables first. And since I did that, like now I don't crave. I don't like the taste of meat anymore. I think that vegetables have much more complicated flavor. You know, it's kind of interesting. All right, I digress. All right, back to Ghilaine Maxwell. Make sure everybody can see this. What's going to be with Ghilaine Maxwell? The female out of balance, right? Talk about gaslighting. Talk about slavery mentality. Yeesh. This is an example of somebody who's very sick in the head. Classism isn't real. There's no such thing as divine right of kings. It's all made up by sociopaths to justify terrorizing people. And to justify calling innocent children trash. Base of the matter, the businesswoman strikes a business deal. I think she turns state's evidence. She's before the judge. She gets her wish. She's handing over information. You can see the judgment, and it's in her favor. She's been cooperating. The Lover's card, negotiation, heartbreak. She truly was devastated by the death of Epstein. She feels like it's something that happened a long time ago, that she was in a different place, but she feels that she's being misrepresented, of course, right? In her mind, she thinks she did those girls a favor because they were out on the streets, right? She's insane. She's not mentally well. So her opinion is not going to be, she's not in her right mind. But you can see offers coming for her. She has a chance to make it right in the sense that she is cooperating. There's all this cooperation happening. And you can see the judge here. In August, an offer, confusion, grief. She's not going to get everything she wants, but she is going to be trying to make a deal. Her karma is coming to roost. I see her coming back to the States. You can see a travel here and confusion. Look at this. I think she's cooperating. I think she's coming back to the States. I think she's answering questions in Europe. I think she's part of an ongoing investigation. I think that she's cooperating state's evidence, turning state's evidence, and I think that she'll be coming back to the States. Once she answers questions in Europe, after she's been given certain guarantees, she'll come back to the States. I think that other people that worked with her are also going to be cooperating. I think Prince Andrew is going to give a controlled interview. We will be seeing an interview from Prince Andrew. And eventually the day may come when Ghilaine Maxwell will give an interview, either to Oprah or somebody else. But I see interviews from both of them. But right now, Ghilaine Maxwell is heavily, heavily cooperating with an ongoing investigation. And it's very, very private. And there's really not much else she can do. All right, people had asked me to look at G7. We're going over. That's okay. I don't mind going over. If you have to go, I'll see you tomorrow. If you want to stick around, we're going to continue on and just extend the reading. So we're looking now at G7 and whether or not the G7 is going to go well and what will happen with Russia in G7. What's going to happen with G7 and Russia? And I'm also going to ask if Spirit can tell us a little bit about Boris Johnson while we're at it in the EU. I'll combine them. G7, Britain's future, Boris Johnson, all that good stuff. Strength, defensiveness. No, I don't think that Russia's in a good place. The G7, 7 of Wands, the 7, and look at the defensiveness, kicking back. So no, I don't think that Putin is going to be allowed back into G8 because they're coming after him. He screwed up. This is not somebody they're willing to, NATO's not going to negotiate with him. The EU is not going to, he's in a lot of trouble. You can see the strength of the G7. If you're going to try and do something like this, you'd better know who you're fighting with. This new coin that the G7 that they're talking about, they're coming up with creative ways to make sure that tyrants are never in this position ever again. They're going to cut them off at the knees. They're going to find their income sources and shut them down. You're not going to be able to hide the money you made from selling children in cryptocurrency anymore in offshore accounts. All of that is over. They're very serious. And let me tell you something. This woman who's taking control, this financial genius, I can't remember her name, but she was seen getting annoyed by Ivanka Trump. That woman is hard at work, brilliantly coming up with financial ways to control Putin. She's going to control him financially. We get our wish regarding commerce, 3 of Wands. Stopping it. It's going to be a stop. We're going to control the market. We're going to control the market. We're going to control the finances. The new woman that came in, that's part of working with the World Bank, etc. We can see a Page of Pentacles. They will control this. They will control it with money and commerce. Look at that. It's her. She's one of the people coming in. It's this woman with the World Bank. If people could tell me her name, she's the one that was seen getting annoyed when Ivanka Trump was standing there. Look at that. They're going to legally knock him off at the knees. They are going to give him an opportunity to sign contracts for legally. If he agrees to do business the way that they do business, he can come back in. But because he doesn't want to agree to their rules, no. There are certain ethics and rules he will have to agree to. And if he can't agree to them, he can't come in to be part of G7. And that's why he was removed. Because there's going to be a standard of ethics that you have to adhere to if you want to be part of the G7. That's what it looks like. In terms of Boris Johnson, his energy just kind of pitters away. It's like the same thing that's happening to Trump. He's yesterday's news. It's like people have lost interest in him. Everybody's waking up. People want to go get into green capitalism, saving the planet, and he just feels like yesterday's news. Nobody cares about him anymore. Everybody's off to save the Amazon, off to save the planet. It's just a different rhythm coming in now. Even the South is going green. Even the music is about cooperation now. People are done. I just want to do a quick throw on Stephen Miller, and then we'll go ahead and call it a day. Does that work out for everybody? One more throw? Okay. Stephen Miller, what's the future of Stephen Miller? Stephen Miller. What is the future of Stephen Miller? The base of the matter. God or ethos or the higher self. Chronic pain and stress. This is somebody who will not be able to escape the Constitution. Remember, we had talked about the fact that I use the Hierophant to represent the ethos, the Godhead, or the Constitution. The greater ethos of the nation is moving in. And then as far as he's concerned, Nine of Swords, chronic headache, stress. He becomes increasingly isolated. He can no longer sell his ice cream because it's no longer popular. It's like you have a brand, and the brand is popular for a while, and everybody wants to go and eat your ice cream, or they want to go to the milkshake shack, or whatever is popular, and then all of a sudden, a new kid shows up on the block, and they've got a better ice cream, and you aren't able to sell your ice cream anymore, or your lemonade, or whatever it is. Your business goes belly up just because another better model shows up. That's what this looks like. This is the guy that can't sell his speeches. He can't sell his argument because people just think he's completely out of touch. The present moment, everything is going great. He thinks everything is going great. Nine of Cups. But you can see the Two of Cups. Rocky waters ahead. Look at that. And rocky waters for his financial future. What is above him? A new offer. He's considering leaving his position at the White House because he can see the writing on the wall, and instead he wants to go over to a think tank and work at a think tank. This is an opportunity to go work at a think tank and get out of Dodge. I think he's going to quit. He's no longer marketable where he is, so he's going to try and be marketable somewhere else. The love affair, the results of the love affair. He's looking elsewhere. Look at this. The love affair comes to an end and he looks elsewhere. Other options, a new job. This guy's going to quit. Heartbreak. You know what? He's not staying. He's resigning and he's going to go work somewhere else. For probably a right-wing think tank, wants to flee. He's going to take care of himself somewhere else. Surrounding himself with people who think the way he does, he's moving on. Stephen Miller's probably going to resign and work for a think tank. That's the best way for me to interpret those cards. Good riddance. Good riddance to our friend, Stephen Miller. Well, that was fun. That's right, research like the Heritage Foundation, Family Preservation Society, you know, all these right-wing, pseudo-alt-right, because it's no longer popular. All those millennials grew up and voted. My state college degree was free. That same degree now costs $40,000. Should that be fair? So the new generation coming in is not experiencing America the same way that Generation X or the baby boomers. We had a lot of benefits. Oh, Roxanne went to medical school. Did we go to medical school together, Roxanne? Are you one of my colleagues? I'm just curious. Anyway. Are we done? Does everybody feel like we're done? Can we call it a day or do we need to keep going? Hey, Roxanne studied genetics. Me too. It's one of my studies. Yes, education used to be free. And the reason why is because smart people did the math. And educated people pay a lot of taxes. And so if you give somebody free education, theoretically you collect it in taxes if they go into the... It always pays for itself because maybe not in every individual situation. Some people have health crises, things happen. But if you're looking overall at the investment of education, it's quite profitable. the government is not losing money because most of the taxes, most of that money gets collected back again through labor. You know, I always use myself as an example because I used to be a diner waitress earning $6,500 a year. And now I pay a lot, and I'm not going to tell you how much, but it's not fun. I pay a lot in taxes. So, you know, the government gets it back in taxes. But this is America. I also have to pay my student loans back from med school, and that's not fair. All right, are we done, everybody? Everybody done? We got to everything? Everybody happy? New York State was free in 1977. Yeah. If you were poor, if you were over the age of 27 when you started school, because I didn't have parents that could pay my schooling, yeah, you got federal grants, and it was cool. And school was not as expensive as it was before. All right, I guess tell us about Kavanaugh. Okay, I'll do one more because I've been asked about Kavanaugh in the past, and I didn't get to Kavanaugh in the last time. And I don't look at Melania. I know people ask about that. No, Ivanka, you know what? Ivanka's going through a spiritual change right now. She was out in nature, the wild ones. Don't be so quick to dismiss her. Let her go through her spiritual evolution in her own time. She's got a lot on her plate, but she may evolve to become a good person after this whole thing. She's not there yet, but who knows? Maybe she'll get there. We all have free choice, right? Just like Marsha Martin says. All right, let's go ahead and throw on Kavanaugh, and then we'll call it a day. One more. What is the future of Brent Kavanaugh? What is the future of Brent Kavanaugh? Is the future of Brent Kavanaugh? Let's take a look. The base of the matter, he's fleeing a situation. There's something going on with Brent Kavanaugh where he's actually in a situation that he's trying to get out of. He's trying to do his work, but there's some aspect to his life right now where there's fear. There's fear and a feeling like things are closing in on him. You can see the Thief's card, a feeling perhaps that he stole his current position. Attempting to do his job, attempting to just focus on his work. Where he's at right now, the truth is coming out, or the sun is over him, rejoicing. Something's going to happen where he may not be removed. Well, maybe he will be removed. You can see the Five of Pentacles is moving in with the Five of Swords and a confusion. He could be facing legal problems. Look at that. He's in a retracted state. Four of Pentacles, also the Buddha card, self-examination. He's in a retracted state. What is around him? Slow going, the hope and the fear, a crash. The final outcome, the judge, the perfect judge. So, yeah, I think we have not heard the last of Kavanaugh. Oh, my God. He's going to have to answer further questions. I don't know if Kavanaugh will be forced out, but I can tell you he has future problems waiting for him. And there is an ongoing investigation, and he's frightened of this ongoing investigation. And it appears to be associated with his involvement in something that happened in the past that he has his fingerprints all over that may have been illegal. That's the best way I can interpret this cards. All right, I think we're done. I want to thank everybody for coming in today, spending the morning with me. and for being supportive of the channel. The channel has helped me a lot, and I'm grateful for the work. I'm grateful that I'm able to do this, and I'm grateful to all of you for helping be part of creating a life for myself uh, that makes me very happy. And thank you for being in my life, and thank you for giving me the work. All right, I want to thank everybody for watching. Be well, everybody. Take care of yourselves. Keep the questions coming. They're good questions. And we'll see you next time. God bless and be well. Bye, everyone.